What made you leave the glamour, is what I'm going to use that word, because I feel like it is a glamorous job, saying I worked at Walt Disney. What made you leave that and then start your own thing?
Well, I had 10 years there, and I had a glorious 10 years there, but I was there at a time where it didn't feel particularly corporate and bureaucratic. Towards the end of my stint there, it started to turn a bit, and it started to become the Walt Disney Corporation it is today, as opposed to Buena Vista International, which is kind of where I worked. So the more corporate and bureaucratic it became, the less it was for me.
So what makes companies of that size and stature and like legacy change so drastically, do you think?
Well, monetization, corporate profits, commercializing the business, new leadership. There are all manner of different things that can happen to a business like that. I just happened to be there when the going was good. You know, the going was really good. And therefore, there is that freedom. When things are going well, no one wants to mess with the formula. So at that time, we were afforded lots of freedom. It wasn't microscopic. There weren't people looking at what we were doing because the money was rolling in. As the world and the business started to change, it inevitably becomes a bit more corporate. There's shareholder responsibilities, there's quarterly earnings reports, there's all these things that suddenly become more important than, enjoying your day to day.
And money always affects everything. At the end of the day, I feel like any question could be brought back down to money, right? It's what it is, and it's kind of sad when you think about it.
But it is and it isn't. And I would love to take the stigma out of that, because there's nothing wrong with talking about money. There's nothing wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with it. And I do think we're getting to a stage now where a lot of people are a bit like, well, why does it have to be about money? Well, it's business. So it is about money. It just is. And that's okay. Now, are there things that we can do around that make the culture better, that make people enjoy what they're doing a bit more, that gives people the flexibility and freedom they need? Absolutely. But it still has to come back to money. Otherwise, it's not a charity.
Yeah, and I actually do echo that. And I feel like there's a line though, right? Because I feel like you can also want to do good in the world and you want to do things with purpose. But as I said, it's not a charity. You do need a bottom line. And I think that what I've found in corporations is a little bit different to small businesses, I think. And I think that a lot of small businesses do a lot more for employees in a way because they're kind of closer to them. But I think, do you not think that, employees forget that there's also a bottom line as well? And I feel like a lot of time they work for big corporates like Google and the big ones, and they see all the benefits, and they do earn billions and billions and billions of pounds. So it's almost like you forget that money comes from somewhere and they just expect to be paid or whatever. But how do you think that affects smaller businesses then? Because I feel like they don't have that luxury of having all the money in the world. And smaller businesses, I found, because I am a small business owner, I work with a lot of small business owners, and the impression I get is that they want to make profit because they need to live. And, we started these businesses for a reason, not to just, save away. But we also want to do right by our employees because we care. They're a small, close-knit team, so we want to help them.